In this state, the choices are lethal injection or hanging.
Do you have a preference?
Yes, hanging.
A death row inmate wants to hang for his crimes. Will he get his wish? The Pentagon braces for more trouble in the Gulf as Saddam flexes his muscle for the next American president. And Eye on America. Tonight, who's to blame and how to change one of this country's most dangerous obsessions.
I mean, I can't even enjoy eating ever, because I constantly worry about what I'm putting in my mouth and how much I'm going to gain from it.
This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Societies often are judged on the basis of how they mete out punishment. This comes to mind because the execution of a convicted child molester and murderer in Washington state now appears to be only hours away, and debate still rages over whether the form of this particular execution is so cruel as to be unconstitutional. Correspondent John Blackstone is covering this unusual story in Walla Walla, Washington.
Protesters who say hanging is barbaric have gathered at the Washington State Penitentiary. The condemned, Wesley Dodd, says he's ready to hang. And today, efforts to stop the execution failed in the state Supreme Court.
The method by which the state proposes to kill Mr. Dodd, hanging him by the neck, is cruel and unusual punishment.
But the man sentenced to hang by the neck until dead says that hanging is a punishment that fits his crime. Wesley Dodd raped and murdered 3 boys. 2 he stabbed to death, 1 he strangled and hanged.
I don't think I deserve better than what those boys got. They weren't put to sleep and given a shot. Nice, clean, painless death.
And Dodd did have a choice. In Washington, state law lets the condemned choose the method of execution.
In this state, the choices are lethal injection or hanging.
Do you have a preference?
Yes, hanging.
Dodd, a repeat sexual offender who molested many children before he was caught, says execution is the only way to make sure he doesn't escape and do it again.
I'll go right back to doing what I did before as soon as I hit the streets.
Which is what?
Kill kids.
Kill and rape kids.
Yes.
Jewel Cornell's 4-year-old son, Lee, was one of Dodd's victims. She's set to be a witness to the execution.
I have a lot of hate, because I don't believe Dodd has any right to be alive at all.
Dodd has never disputed that. Since he was sentenced in 1990, he has rejected every opportunity to appeal. In fact, his defense attorney has been working to guarantee the execution goes ahead as scheduled.
He does not want any of these phony, baloney appellate issues that are brought up standard in death penalty cases.
Protesters will keep up their vigil here, but Wesley Dodd seems set to get his wish just after midnight tonight and become the first person hanged in America in almost 30 years. John Blackstone, CBS News, Walla Walla, Washington.
Bill Clinton now is only 16 days away from his inauguration, and increasingly it looks like he'll be baptized in a sea of troubles around the world. One is the war in what used to be Yugoslavia, as that country disintegrates. The U.S. aircraft carrier USS Kennedy, with 80 warplanes, left Marseille, France today. CBS News has learned that it's bound for the Adriatic Sea, off the coast of what used to be Yugoslavia, where it would be available to enforce a no-fly zone over Bosnia. Serbia has violated that so-called no-fly zone repeatedly, with never any punishment from anybody. In Geneva, Switzerland today, peace talks on the Bosnian war broke up a day early. They are scheduled to resume next weekend. Bosnian Serbs are reportedly blocking a plan, actually ridiculing the plan, that would divide the nation into autonomous regions, partly on the basis of ethnic heritage and religion, with a weak central government. Another U.S. aircraft carrier is already putting on a show of strength in the Persian Gulf, where Mr. Clinton could face an early test from a still very much in power Saddam Hussein. David Martin at the Defense Department reports Saddam is stepping up his provocative actions.
The aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk launched planes to enforce the no-fly zone over southern Iraq today as U.S. and Iraqi pilots continued a game of cat and mouse. American radar planes are now tracking about 50 Iraqi aircraft a day.
Iraqis have been airborne extensively since the Kitty Hawk's been out on station.
But the greatest threat to U.S. pilots may come not from the air but from the ground. U.S. intelligence has detected a buildup of Iraqi surface-to-air missiles along the 32nd parallel. the line which marks the boundary of the no-fly zone. And some Pentagon officials believe it is part of a calculated plan by Saddam Hussein to shoot down an American warplane. According to this scenario, U.S. pilots would become so fixated with keeping Iraqi aircraft from crossing the 32nd parallel that they would overlook the missiles below them.
Saddam learned the hard way during Operation Desert Storm that his Air Force is no match for U.S. aircraft. But his anti-aircraft missiles did succeed in shooting down a small number of American warplanes. And he may be trying to bag one more as a final gesture of defiance towards George Bush.
Ever since a U.S. Air Force F-16 shot down an Iraqi jet over the no-fly zone a week ago, the Iraqis have been teasing American pilots by flying back and forth along the 32nd parallel, but always stopping short of giving the Americans reason to shoot.
Yeah, there's been signs, but it's all been north 32nd. I haven't seen anything threatening or anything like that.
For these pilots, turning on the radar that guides the Iraqi anti-aircraft missiles would be considered a threat. That has not yet happened during this latest confrontation with Saddam, and the U.S. military has warned the Iraqi military not to let it happen. Pentagon sources say if there is another incident over the no-fly zone, they are prepared to launch a series of strikes designed, as one source put it, to hurt him bad. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Then there's Somalia. President Bush originally said that U.S. troops would be out by Inauguration Day. But Defense Secretary Cheney admitted today that most of the U.S. troops in Somalia will stay there past January. UN peace talks on Somalia involving 14 different factions, including the various warlords, opened today in neighboring Ethiopia. As it did in Bosnia and Somalia itself, the presence of Secretary General Boutros-Ghali again provoked violent demonstrations. At least one person was killed during protests by students opposed to UN policy on Ethiopia's own simmering civil war. The murder of an Israeli secret agent has injected a new and volatile element into the standoff over 400 Palestinians trapped between Israel and Lebanon. The killing could signal another round of retaliation by Israel. Correspondent Bob Simon has more about it.
It's called a safe house in the intelligence trade, but it proved to be decidedly unsafe for an Israeli undercover agent last night. He came here to meet one of his informers, a Palestinian who kept him posted on the workings of Hamas, the Islamic fundamentalist group. But the man turned out to be a double agent. He stabbed the Israeli to death. The murder was an apparent retaliation for the mass deportation 2 weeks ago, which put more than 400 Hamas activists on a freezing hill in Lebanon and which plunged Israel into a public relations nightmare. But Prime Minister Rabin says that doesn't really matter.
Regardless what some nice people all over the world would say, we'll fight with all the means against any terror group.
What the Israelis are saying is that the men they deported are responsible not only for the killing of Israelis, but a part of a larger movement which took Western hostages in Lebanon, which are now threatening the stability of Egypt and Jordan. The Israelis are trying to portray themselves as part of a Western crusade against Islamic fundamentalism. The fundamentalists have been gaining ground in the occupied territories where their power base is schools, hospitals, universities. The PLO used to fund many of these, that is, until the Gulf states cut them off for supporting Iraq. Hamas rejects the PLO vision of a secular Palestinian state. It rejects peace talks with Israel and keeps trying to torpedo them with wave after wave of killings. So while publicly PLO leaders decry the deportations, secretly they must be cheering. Well, not quite.
I think this might cause a kind of sympathy for Hamas, because people usually, sympathize with the underdog.
But for Israelis, the issue is not sympathy for the deportees or lack of sympathy for Israel. The issue is their war with Hamas.
Whatever people may feel about the pictures of them in the snows of Lebanon, this was a major blow, and they realize it.
Hamas has always thrived on the despair of Palestinians. If the Israelis could turn that around, they would deal the fundamentalists the most deadly blow of all. Bob Simon, CBS News, Jerusalem.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a new twist in advertising, using the national debt to persuade you to spend money.
Express card. Let me talk about debt for a moment.
Serious debt.
Mountains of debt.
it took a cold morning like this one for me to discover a really great hot cereal for my family. And who would have expected? It's grape nuts. I just pour grape nuts, add milk, and microwave for a minute. It's got a warm, smooth, hearty taste that's so delicious we all love it. And grape nuts is fat-free. It's the perfect way to help keep us all going on a cold winter's morning. Hot, delicious grape nuts. Try it for yourself.
Hot or cold, breakfast with Post Grape Nut cereal helps keep you going strong all morning long.
When your sinus and nasal congestion feels this bad, what can you do? Last year, you wanted to call the doctor. Last year, you wanted a prescription. But this year, Tavis D in its full prescription strength is available without a prescription. Just one tablet helps relieve 12 hours worth of painful congestion and sneezing.
Guess what? I'll be there after all.
Tavis D. One tablet, 12 hours, and now no prescription.
For all of the talk of U.S. economic recovery, and some of it is well-founded, there are more signs of trouble in the job market. Northwest Airlines said today that it will lay off more than 1,000 workers. A new survey of mid-size American companies found only 1 in 3 plan to hire more workers anytime soon, and 1 in 4 expect more layoffs. One thing that's not helping the economy is the huge national debt. Here is our weekly update. At last report, the U.S. national debt was more than $4,141 billion and still counting. Your individual share has grown to $16,565. The mounting national debt seems to be good for at least one business these days, the advertising business. Bill Lagatuda reports on the selling of the debt.
So you can't be held back by some preset limit on a bank card. Not you.
When American Express ran these ads last year, the theme was spend, spend, spend. Deny yourself nothing.
Their every desire fulfilled.
And about that huge dinner tab?
Instead of worrying, you order more wine.
What a difference a year makes. What a difference a recession makes.
Do you know the national debt is almost $4 trillion?
These days, American Express no longer glorifies American excess.
And with banks charging up to 19% interest on our credit cards, we're literally drowning in debt.
But don't think the company's ad agency has suddenly gone soft.
This is a tactical campaign. The high-flying 80s are over. Financial responsibility is smart.
Let me talk about debt for a moment.
Serious debt.
Mountains of debt.
IKEA, the home furnishing chain, is also using the debt to sell.
Right now, I think they go hand in hand. The deficit in advertising, shopping within your means.
You can't look your children, your grandchildren in the eye and leave them a $4 trillion debt.
The national debt.
You know who, with his ads, made the national debt a topic of national conversation. But he wasn't the first.
By 1986, for example, the national debt had reached $2 trillion.
7 years ago, the W.R. Grace Company made these commercials.
You owe the United States government $50,000.
Back then, times were too good to worry about this, and the networks refused to air the spots. Now, with America's debt clock on fast forward, advertisers have found a new button to push.
Now they're talking the talk, the culturally correct, politically correct talk of responsibility and moderation, but they basically just want you to trim down so that you can get back to buy, buy, buy.
So expect more advertisers to appeal to your sense of fiscal duty. When the economy picks up steam, of course, we'll all be flying high again. Bill Lagatuda, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Stay with us now for more CBS News, including a ship packed with plutonium carrying the hopes and fears of Japan.
Come on, honey, it's late.
Most moms don't have a lot of time in the morning.
Hurry, hurry.
But all it takes is 90 seconds to make them instant Quaker oatmeal instead of cold cereal. Instant Quaker oatmeal.
Bye, Mom. Better run.
For moms who have a lot of love, but not a lot of time.
You've just won $10 million in the American Family Sweepstakes. Congratulations. More good news like this is right around the corner. You can get rich, $10 million rich, faster than you think. Just weeks from now, I'll personally hand over American Family's next $10 million prize. So be sure to enter this sweepstakes, the only one with my picture, and this $10 million prize that can make you super rich very, very fast.
When the person who doctors the family gets a cough and cold, everyone suffers.
Mom, someone took my sleeve.
I ironed it myself. Time to doctor that cough with Robitussin, because more doctors and pharmacists recommend Robitussin than any other cough medicine.
Look, Mom's feeling better. Uh-oh.
Robitussin, recommended by Dr. Mom. Which Robitussin is right for you? Ask your doctor or pharmacist. And also try Robitussin cough drops. Cough drops from the cough experts.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing, could lead even to tooth loss. And now Sensodyne has fluoride.
Fluoride, great.
New Sensodyne helps stop the pain of sensitive teeth.
Think these kids are just having a good time? You might be shocked to learn what they're having with it. LSD, return trip, 48 hours Wednesday.
Prison officials announced today that junk bond criminal Michael Milken has been released from federal prison to a halfway house in Los Angeles. Milken has served 22 months of what was originally a 10-year term for securities fraud. Now, from around the world, more CBS News. Near Cancun, Mexico, a bus carrying 52 tourists overturned on a rain-slick road, struck a light pole, and burst into flames. At least 24 of the tourists were killed. As many as 14 were believed to be Americans. In northern Utah, rescuers retrieved the bodies of 4 men killed in a helicopter crash. The chopper went down in a foggy area near a mountain peak while crew members were filming a group of skiers for a commercial. In Washington, D.C., the new faces of 1993 and their staff workers began flocking to Capitol Hill today. The 103rd United States Congress will be sworn in tomorrow. In Minnesota, a new face on the bench. Football Hall of Famer Alan Page, once of the Minnesota Vikings, was sworn in as a member of the Minnesota Supreme Court. He's the first African-American to serve on the state's highest court. And the eagle has landed in Maitland, Florida. An abandoned bald eagle egg was hatched by eagle foster parents. The egg was rescued from a tree that was cut down illegally over the holidays.
Have you ever eaten fat-free foods? Have you? Because if you had, you'd know how bad they taste, and you wouldn't need me to tell you. But I'll try it. This is wonderful. I like this. It's crispy, it's light, and I know it's not fat-free.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes have always been fat-free.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes? Fat-free?
Taste them again for the first time.
All right, so I was wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong.
If you've got a cold, you are about to experience the shape of things to come. Introducing a new maximum strength cold gel caplet that's easy to swallow. Dristan Cold, the face of relief today. New from the makers of Dristan.
My doctor said Habitrol.
Habitrol.
It's a nicotine patch.
That's the one.
For information, call 1-800-685-2000.
Habitrol.
Ask your doctor about Habitrol Nicotine Transdermal System. It's only available by prescription.
You should call your doctor.
It always happens at the worst time. A sudden attack of diarrhea. And you'd give anything to get back in control. Introducing Pepto Diarrhea Control. It's made with the strongest diarrhea medicine you can buy. So it often stops diarrhea the first time you take it. Nothing works better than this. And this is from Pepto-Bismol. Take control with new Pepto Diarrhea Control.
What has 30 legs and gets lost in the halls? Chances are you voted for them and they're ready. Meet 15 new members of Congress tomorrow on CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
The U.S. East Coast could be in for more battering from monster hurricanes over the next few years. That's the long-range forecast today from the U.S. government's weather experts. They also predict more drought in the West in spite of this winter's heavy snows. It's Tuesday morning in Japan, and a ship carrying deadly dangerous plutonium has arrived after a torturous journey from France. The ship docked amid international outrage over Japan's new energy policy. James Hattori has more about it.
After 2 months in a sea of controversy, Japan's plutonium ship, the Akatsuki Maru, made port 70 miles northeast of Tokyo this morning. Environmentalists rolled out the unwelcome mat to protest the ship's deadly cargo, 1.7 tons of radioactive plutonium. It's the first of up to 40 shipments which Japan claims it needs to generate more nuclear power, a stockpile critics call unnecessary and dangerous. Despite Japanese attempts to keep a low profile, the Akatsuki Maru left France in the glare of world scrutiny. It had to change route when some countries, worried about terrorists or an environmental disaster, refused it passage. While the plutonium shipment is now safe in port, Japan's plans to build more power plants still face treacherous waters, largely because of its choice of fuel. Compared to using uranium, plutonium is more costly, dangerous, and easier to make into bombs.
No one can give any guarantee that this material might not be involved someday in a nuclear weapons program. Plutonium essentially lasts forever. Governments change almost yearly.
Worried by a reliance on imports for 80% of its energy, Japan continues down the plutonium path. New technology, new plans. But even the Japanese people, who pay the world's highest electricity rates, are beginning to question their leaders' wisdom.
And since we are a very small country, I don't know what they are planning to do with all this radioactive waste.
At one time, the Akatsuki Maru carried Japan's hopes for energy independence, smooth sailing through times of crisis. Today, it's another bureaucratic ship under political fire. James Hattori, CBS News, Tokyo.
Up next here, Eye on America. Tonight, dieting as a disease. Victims of the American standard of beauty.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered the 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
Your oatmeal, sir. Oh, the injustice of a low-fat breakfast. If only it could be more inviting.
Sir, from the lady.
Now it can. Introducing Philly Free. Rich, creamy, with the taste only Philly could give you. Yet it's fat-free. Now you can spread new Philly Free instead.
When Ford refined the full-sized car, we made its shape more aerodynamic, its V8 engine more powerful, and yet more efficient. We also added to its comfort and even its safety with available anti-lock brakes and dual airbags. But through it all, one thing about the Ford Crown Victoria has remained the same. It's still as quiet as a Rolls-Royce.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
If you suffer from the common aches and pains of arthritis, doctors know that a safe and effective way to relieve them is something you may already have in your home. Extra strength Tylenol gel caps. Tylenol helps relieve arthritis pain without irritating your stomach, the way aspirin or even ibuprofen can. What should you take for your arthritis pain? Talk to your doctor. The answer may be closer than you think. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
America's obsession with weight loss and physical appearance may help some people to be healthier, but it's also making some people sick. There's been an explosive increase in eating disorders since these were first identified in 1979. Erin Hayes reports on slimness and sickness in tonight's Eye on America.
To look like a model. Now that would be perfection.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
But we've wised up, right? We know even the models don't really look this perfect, so how can we?
That's it. Thanks, Mary.
That's just common sense. While the number of girls ignoring common sense is growing, bombarded with the message that perfection is in, and that it takes being slim, trim, lean. They're willing to do whatever it takes to get that way.
I mean, I can't even enjoy eating ever, you know, because I constantly worry about what I'm putting in my mouth and how much I'm going to gain from it.
I get very nervous, and I just have to keep leaving the room because I just don't want to be around the food.
And it was at that point in time that I began to self-induce vomiting.
I also began to take laxatives.
Bobby Youngblood nearly died a few years ago from eating disorders, bulimia, and anorexia. She thought she was one of just a few. Well, once she started speaking to students...
How many of you would like to be a little bit heavier or a little bit skinnier?
She was astonished to find a whole new generation of girls obsessed with their weight. And despite all the past horror stories about the danger of eating disorders, many are today starving themselves or worse, and confess to her in the shadows, frightened and worried.
I often make myself puke.
How often do you usually make yourself throw up?
A couple times a day.
The pressures that are out there for them to feel like they have to be perfect and have the perfect body image is so very strong. It's everywhere they turn.
The problem, she believes, is mushrooming, especially on college campuses. Doubt it? Well, listen to a group of co-eds at the University of Arkansas.
How many of you think you know someone who has an eating disorder? Is there anyone here who doesn't know someone who has an eating disorder? How many women in here would like to think they need to lose weight? Oh, God. I can't believe this.
During the summer, I'd write down how many fat grams I ate in a day.
What are you worried about?
Because I think I've gone fat.
You think you're fat?
I've heard many people say, God, I wish I was bulimic. Wouldn't that be easier? God, I wish I was anorexic and I didn't want to eat all the time. Boy, that'd be great. You know, just as a way out, because people want to be thin so bad.
Even for small children, weight is now a really big worry. A recent study polled 3,000 of them. 40% think they need to lose weight, and over 100 of them have already started vomiting to lose weight. And they're all 8th graders or younger.
I do know children who are 5 and 6 who are exhibiting behaviors that are either bulimic or starving.
Vivian Meehan heads an association for people with eating disorders. She believes the thin is in message is leaving an indelible impression on America's kids. This is an 8th grade class.
A lot of my friends, they're just really obsessed with their weight.
So you want to look like your best.
And what's best?
Skinny.
There must be some way that we can help children grow up and live through this without feeling they have to distort their body shape in order to be right for the world.
In Meehan's support groups, those who've been through eating disorders warn, once down that road, it's tough to turn off.
There's almost no room in your life for anything else except thinking about eating or not eating, or what you've eaten or what you haven't eaten.
The pressures and the general factors that are causing these disorders in the culture have reached epidemic proportions.
As long as society values thinness as a virtue, experts say, expect to see eating disorders in younger and younger children, unless this generation finally gets fed up and sends a different message.
Would you like to see your children have a different attitude about weight?
Yes. In Fayetteville, Arkansas, this is Erin Hayes for Eye on America.
This isn't funny.
And that's part of our world tonight. With a reminder to watch Paula Zahn and Harry Smith tomorrow morning on CBS This Morning. Dan Rather reporting for the CBS Evening News. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Experience CBS News.
Violent sex offenders. Their numbers are growing. Some will be executed. Some will be released after treatment.
If we can effectively treat one rapist, is that not a good investment of our money?
But can they really be rehabilitated? Eye on America investigates tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
This is CBS.
Don't forget the big screen TVs. It's January clearance time at the Wiz, and the warehouse is jumping. We're moving all our merchandise into our stores before inventory. Get the camcorders on. Everything's going. Every brand, every model. Everything from VCRs to cellular phones, video movies, cassettes, and compact discs. The best thing is we're slashing prices on hundreds of items. We want to sell them, not count them. The January in-store warehouse clearance sale. Nobody beats the Wiz.
Betrayals of trust. It's on Geraldo.
Tonight on Hard Copy. Exclusive.
X-rated Amy Fisher.
Are we taping?
While TV movies portray